Yo, guys, what's poppin'? It's your boy Supreme with Chiha, and I just want to talk a little bit about the ASAP Rocky situation as a European immigrant. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I want to explain the situation because it's a bit different than in America. You know what I'm saying? People in America, I think, have like a different view of everything. When it comes to race and all that shit, they're a little bit more serious about that shit. Uh, Everything is a little bit more, if from our perspective in Europe, everything is a little more extreme in America. You know what I'm saying? So I think this situation is kind of being not showcased correctly. You know what I'm saying? I'm still with Team Free ASAP Rocky, and a lot of people here in Ireland also free Team ASAP Rocky. A lot of people in general are free Team ASAP Rocky. People in Sweden, Swedish people are free ASAP Rocky. You know what I'm saying? Because they get it. Um, but I want to explain the situation a little bit. So here in Europe, I suppose there's three types of people, or three types of countries slash people, in that how they view immigrants. So some people are like completely negative about immigrants, right? They're just like immigrants are bad, immigrants do crime, immigrants do shit that happened before the immigrants got there, of course. But obviously, when the immigrants come here, it's a scapegoat thing, right? There's a lot of even Swedish people blaming everything on the immigrants. Obviously, immigrants, of course, some immigrants are going to come in with bad shit. There's good people, there's bad people, and when you're in a lower economy, you tend more often than not you tend to be bad people, etc., right? So there's that scenario. So everybody's like, oh man, there's especially Muslim immigrants. They come through and they do all this crazy shit or bad, blah blah blah. That's essentially one side of the coin, right? That's like I don't want to say the other extreme, but it's close to the other extreme, right? And then you got the middle ground people, right? And they're just like, oh, if that person does bad, that person is bad, and that person does good, that person does good. You know what I'm saying? So they understand that, yeah, some immigrants are bad, but it's the same thing. Like some Swedish people or some native people are also bad. You know what I'm saying? It's that kind of way. So they don't believe in like, oh, stop every immigrant for coming in just because of that. But maybe if them immigrants aren't good folks, maybe they should get kicked out. You know what I'm saying? So that's the I'll say middle ground, right? At least for me, that's the logical middle ground. And then there's the other side where they're just like immigrants do no wrong. You know what I'm saying? Immigrants just come through and try to escape bad. All immigrants should be welcome. And I don't necessarily believe in that either. You know what I'm saying? I think that's a bit too extreme. I think that you got to be logical about it. You got to think about it. If somebody's coming in with some negative shit, you got to be able to call that negative shit out. But you gotta also, if somebody coming with some positive shit, sorry, with some positive shit, you also gotta be able to compliment it and say, look, these guys are coming in with some positive as well. And you just gotta have a middle viewpoint of it. Some people in the comment section I've seen and been watching online are too extreme on the situation when it comes to, oh, it's the immigrants, Swedish people, that's why the police are overreacting, blah blah blah. It's because the immigrants and the Muslim immigrants especially, and the oldest protected, blah blah blah. Which, if you really logically look at it, I doubt that's the case. You know what I'm saying? I don't live in Sweden, but I really doubt that's the case because, yeah, some of them get protected, but some of them kind of get treated like shit too. You know what I'm saying? It's like one extreme to the next extreme. I think there's a middle ground. Well, some are lucky and they get away with shit, blah blah blah, and others obviously get into shit that they didn't do because another immigrant did it, and all that shit. It's like one bad apple giving another bad apple, a good apple bad name. You know what I'm saying? Giving all apples a bad name. Now, obviously, I'm not denying that there's what I don't know what number or percentage of immigrants in Sweden are bad, et cetera, et cetera. You know what I'm saying? The same way you don't really know. It's hard to tell all that shit. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, so I think those are the three perspectives, right? But then I suppose in like America, the perspectives is it's kind of two ways almost. It's like black people, white people. Like there's a lot of tension with that. Like black jokes and shit like that is like taken completely differently. Like everything there is, from what I know. Please correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section, but everything is essentially comes down to black and white people, right? OJ Simpson, the whole thing happened because black and white people. You know what I'm saying? Essentially, that's how essentially everything is viewed over there. It seems, right, from our perspective. Um, but over here, it tends to be a little more complicated. And obviously, sometimes there is. Obviously, it's people that, oh, I hate black people. Those people, oh, I hate immigrants. Those people, you know what I'm saying? Those extremes of in everything, everywhere. You know what I'm saying? But I think the number of extremes changes. So when we look, and that's important to know just when we look at the whole ASAP Rocky situation, right? So did ASAP Rocky overreact a little bit? Sure, whatever, right? But did he felt, threatened, or um agitated or irritated, attacked, whatever it is you want to say, and he felt that he needed to retaliate, and he retaliated. No, I think if they had punched the immigrant once or twice or whatever, they probably, I don't want to say immigrant, but like, I don't really know if those Swedish nationals or not. I don't know the situation. So just for clarity and simplicity, I'm gonna say immigrant, right? Um, so they punched, maybe they punched him, whatever, pushed him, shoved him. I think they should have kind of let it off at that. I think it's the fact that then 4 or 5 of them were like kicking, and you know what I'm saying. And that's so. And I want to explain how that works in Europe in general, right? I don't want to say every European country doesn't run like that, but a lot of European countries run like that. And when I say European, I mean kind of EU, European Union countries. So okay, if you think of like, okay, so here in Ireland, one of my friends before he was being racially kind of attacked, right? And he's a quote unquote Muslim immigrant, right? And we were with him like 5 minutes ago, let's say, and we was heading home. We just dapped him up like, oh, what's popping, blah blah blah, boom, and we dip, and then we find out he's in jail the next day. So basically, what happened was, um, this guy, was shoving him and all that shit, and then like basically being racist and all that shit, and then he punched him, and the guy dropped. So the police weren't going to charge him for that because it's self defense or whatever, right? But the problem is when the guy was on the floor, he soccer kicked him a couple of times, and he like bust the guys, like he beat him too much. So it's excessive. That's how it works here. So in America, if somebody threatens you, attacks you, right, you could probably shoot him stone cold dead and get away with it, right? Because quote unquote they're still a threat to you. I know in some states it's like as long as their person stops being a threat, anything you do is excessive, or you know what I'm saying. Like if somebody's running away or whatever. But in some states, it's as long as somebody began threatening you, you can do whatever. Something like that, right? I only have a basic understanding of it, but here it's a little bit more different. So like a guy, even if they punch you, and if you punch them, but you continue punching them, you can get charged. That's the difference, right? So you probably get away with easy, light enough full sentence, but you will get charged. So he got charged for it, and he got jailed for it for a few days or whatever, and he got out. It was like maybe a month. I don't know. I can't remember. He got jailed for a bit anyway, and he got out. And that's essentially what happened with ASAP Rocky. It's the same thing. So let's say the guy slapped the guy with the headphones or whatever, but that guy didn't retaliate. His friend retaliated, but excessively is what the cause is. So because he excessively retaliated, that's considered excessive violence or assault. So he's being made an example of, and especially with the whole immigrant thing. Now this is where the immigrant thing I talked about at the very start. Uh, Kind of goes, right? So again, when I said people are like one extreme, middle, or the other extreme, the governments also and countries also tend to take these stances. Now, obviously, some countries are super extreme. They're like no immigrants, uh, which is whatever. Like in Ireland here, a lot of people want immigrants to come in, right? But a lot of people also don't, right? But Ireland is it's kind of a tricky situation just because uh, a lot of Irish people feel like, look, if other countries didn't let us be immigrants in World War One and Two and Titanic eras, all that stuff, and during the famine and all that stuff, famine, not even World War really, during the famine, essentially, it would have been a problem. You know what I'm saying? So we can't turn our backs on people when people didn't turn their backs on us. You know what I'm saying? So if people don't know, Irish people are treated pretty badly as well when they move places. So they kind of have a understanding of it. So they try to be very lax about it, but then they still have some horrible shit happening here. Kind of like concentration camps, a little bit like what's happening in America. Maybe not to that, definitely not to that extreme, but people still die and and all that stuff. But at the same time, right? Talking to some immigrants that live in those places, they're very happy. Some of them are very happy just to be away from the bigger problems that they came from. Because I've had conversation with them. I was like, okay, what's your thoughts on it? Because everybody was just likes to throw thoughts on people, right? Everybody likes to throw their opinion on people, like, oh, they're living in this type of condition, blah blah blah, right? Which I mean, sometimes it is the case, 100%, but sometimes it isn't exactly like that. Because I also had friends that lived in like quote unquote camps in Ireland, and they didn't really see a problem with it. You know what I'm saying? Because for them it was like a free place, blah blah blah. They get food, all that shit, blah blah blah, right? But then people obviously outside are like, yo, like those conditions are seem okay, but they're actually quite horrible for the standard of living. You know what I'm saying, in this country. So I get that. Um, and what I'm especially what I'm leading up to is like, so in the Swedish government is on the other side of the extreme. So the extreme side is that they're supposedly anyway that they're too friendly to immigrants. You know what I'm saying? Because they're trying to seem a certain way, and because of that, it's almost as if they're trying to hide the bad apples completely, or trying to pretend like the bad apples don't exist. You know what I'm saying? Which is it's stupid. Really, they should have a middle ground. If that immigrant does a crime, that immigrant gets, you know what I'm saying? But also the newspaper shouldn't be like Muslim this, because that brings propaganda and causes racism to rise and all that shit. Now, in Sweden in general, supposedly people are like very friendly, overly friendly, and avoid any kind of racial tension or conflict. Actually, here as well, to some degree, there's some place, to some degree across Europe, it's kind of like that. People really avoid racial tension because they see what's happening in America and they're like, yo, we never want to be like that. You know what I'm saying? Where everything is like race. You know what I'm saying? So here it's a little bit different. Sometimes people do bad shit, sometimes people do good shit. You know what I'm saying? And mm, things don't always go, oh, it's race related. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's kind of the difference. The difference is like everything isn't race related, and the ASAP Rocky thing is more, I think, country related than race related, right? I mean, okay, I get it, because okay, supposedly the Swedish government ain't really mess with hip hop like that, but if they don't, I think it just like I see, because it's a black culture, automatically you have to say then they don't mess with black people, but that's not necessarily the case. And I don't really know about the legitimacy of that statement. So I don't really want to talk about that. So let's talk about shit that we actually are kind of sure of, right? So ASAP Rocky is locked up because of that. But I think they're just trying to set an example. Like, yo, you guys that are coming through from, like, I suppose other top world countries, don't come through out here with your bullshit and, and overreact. We got our own laws, we got our own thing. And they're just setting an example. Like, don't mess with our people type shit. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of like them saying that we stand with our immigrants, But I think it obviously in this situation is just not the right way of going about it. But I think that's what they're trying to do. Like, oh, we stand with our people. Like, they're not immigrants. They're part of Sweden. They're part of us. And you guys can't come here and assault our people. That type of shit. But obviously, Rocky felt like it was self-defense. But in European standards, that's definitely excessive self-defense. And I mean, look, I don't want to double standard it. He should probably be free at this stage, but he like going to jail here over it isn't unrealistic. You know what I'm saying? But obviously because it's self-defense, he should only get a small fine and let go. But obviously I think in Sweden it doesn't work that way. I think you can't get bail supposedly if you're not a Swedish national or something like that, or if you're not European citizen or something like that. I'm not 100% sure. But either way, I think he like realistically should be let go and he will be let go, but I think they just want to cause a little bit of a scene to to let people know like, yo, like, don't mess with our people type shit. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, again, okay, I get it. Like the conditions aren't as inhumane as people are reporting. So maybe for the first few days, the conditions might be, yeah, whatever. But I think the conditions in Europe in general when it comes to jails is pretty good in comparison. Like there's literally open jails in Ireland. Like the dude can go down to the shop, inspire, and buy a cup of tea, chill out in the sun, and go back in jail and go to sleep. Like literally, like those jails like that out here. Like I swear to God, that's literally like, you know what I'm saying. Obviously, you don't want to be in jail. Nobody wants to be in jail, but I'm just saying the conditions aren't like American standard conditions. So when somebody says, "Oh, it's horrible conditions in Europe or whatever," it's nowhere near as bad as it is in regular American conditions. You know what I'm saying? So that's also another thing to kind of keep an eye out on. Also, like, I don't know, like there's a lot more injustice, lockups in America than like anywhere else in the world. So it's kind of odd. Like it's a little bit odd when you see the reactions. But I get it. I get it. Free ASAP Rocky 100%. But he's not in that horrible of a situation. He definitely will be let go at some point. He's not gonna get the 6 years, guys. It's attorneys do that. He's not gonna get the 6 years. He's gonna be let go probably within the next month. But they just want to set an example. Like, if you guys are coming over here, don't start causing trouble without people. You know what I'm saying? I think that's all it is. And it's unfortunate that they used him as an example on as a scapegoat because it does make it seem like a race thing. But I don't necessarily think it is. But then again, I think if it was like a Swedish national that did the attack, the Swedish national will probably be the one getting in trouble. To be honest, because they don't. You know what I'm saying? It's weird enough that way. So that's what I mean by the other extreme. So um, I think they're just trying to protect their international appeal, if I can say. You know what I'm saying? Um, but again, governments do dumb shit all the time. Are we even surprised? The law does dumb shit all the time. Are we even surprised? But the Swedish people definitely shouldn't get a lot of hate for it. Are they Swedish racist? Of course there are, but a lot of Swedish are probably cool. You know what I'm saying? Um, they have a different. I know a few Swedish people from like just from college and stuff like that. They pretty cool. Like most Europeans are pretty cool, to be honest. They're pretty cultured, as I would say, when it comes to race and all that shit. And nobody really, nobody that like goes to university is like racist, really, barely. Do you know what I'm saying? Like out here it's different. Like if somebody's going to college, university, more than likely they're a little bit more educated. Yeah, they might argue with you on some dumb shit, but they're not like racist. You know what I'm saying? They're just a little bit retarded or a little bit confused or don't quite understand. But definitely, I think racism here isn't nearly as strong. So, and this is somebody that grew up like and had people like quote unquote. I don't say catcalling, but like, oh, what's up, dude? Just because like, well, not what's up, dude, but like, what's up, bro? Just because like I'm black or whatever. Like normally they're like, hey, hi to all their friends, but as soon as they see me, they're trying to be all like handshakes and shit that they don't do. That that's annoying. You know what I'm saying? Like you get that. So that's what I mean. But there's this three extremes. Some people are like overly friendly, where they're like, yo, I believe that like white people and black people, I believe that it's just a color, man. I believe that it's just pigment of our skin. Like why is this conversation happening? That's how I feel a lot of the time. Like, why is this conversation? It's not like a racist incident just happened, and that's why you're telling me this. You know what I'm saying? I'm just walking by, minding my own business, chilling. Why are you telling me this? You know what I'm saying? I don't really want to hear it. Like, but obviously I'm a friendly dude, so I'm like, oh yeah, 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 honey, bro, bless up, man. Yeah, I appreciate that. It's good to hear some positive shit, man. Bless up. But I don't experience racism on a daily basis. Most of us probably don't experience racism on a daily basis. It happens sometimes, of course. Walking down the street, somebody's like, hey, you nigga. You know what I'm saying? It happens. Oh, you monkey. Ah, all that shit. And I'm just like, man, shut the. You know what I'm saying? Because again, it's rare to get that face to face. Like, I'm not gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? But it happens, and you know what I'm saying, it happens. But I think it became even illegal to like say racial slurs. Like I could sue somebody for saying a racial slur to me, like right now, you know what I'm saying? But you can sue a lot of people for a lot of things here. But people don't really do that. You know what I'm saying? Like excessive violence, people don't really do that. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's different. It's different. But yeah, so I just wanted to give a little bit of clarity, I suppose, on the European perspective with the whole ASAP Rocky thing. Is it a race thing? Possibly. Sure, I'm not gonna completely deny it, but if it's a race thing, it's more than likely to protect the Swedish immigrants rather than it is to attack black people per se. But it's unfortunate, obviously, that happened to black people. You know what I'm saying? I feel like if it was like Eminem that did it, uh, I don't know. Would it be different? I can't really guess and say like, yeah, Eminem would have been locked up as well. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to say yes or no to that because I don't know. But it's a possibility the same thing would happen. You know what I'm saying? But then again, he's such a mega star that they probably wouldn't want the bad press from that. But again, that's like Beyonce or some shit, or if it was like, I don't know, Kanye or some shit, probably would have got away with it. You know what I'm saying? There's different types of like stardoms, different levels of stardoms. Like ASAP is like maybe a B+ celebrity, maybe A-list, but he's not like an S tier celebrity. You know what I'm saying? So it's a little bit different. But yeah. So what do you guys think about the whole ASAP Rocky thing? I'm definitely a free ASAP Rocky guy. I signed a petition, which I'll leave the link in the description below, and you guys should definitely sign it. But I just wanted to give a European perspective of it. It's still definitely messed up that he's going to jail for it, but it's not quite as black and white as people like to paint it out to be. You know what I'm saying? He definitely, or his team and him definitely used excessive violence by European standards. You know what I'm saying? But he should definitely be free. He should get a small fine or whatever, slap on the wrist, and that's really it. But I think they're just trying to set an example. But yeah, what's your opinion on the take? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you have a different perspective? Let me know. It's been your boy Supreme Uchiha, and I'm out.